Good afternoon. My name is Kyle Turner, and for my Argument 3 presentation, Congress should enact a policy on the stock market so that investors will be safe if a crash occurs and stockbrokers will get a second chance, leading so that there will be no depressions ever again. The first aspect of the policy would be that there would be a maximum and minimum gain or loss for the investor. Another factor is that stockbrokers are guaranteed a second chance through a contract. This contract would be signed with the investor before any money is even put into the market, so that if the investor does lose it all on the stockbroker's behalf, then they do have to actually still invest with the stockbroker, at least a certain percent of the overall money that they first invested, so that the investor gets a second chance. The third thing that this policy will create is a depression and recession-free market. With the stock market only being able to lose a minimum amount, that means the economy can analyze this fact and create an economy where this will never happen. There will never be another recession or depression if this policy is enacted and followed through correctly. The first rule would be the one where there's a minimum and maximum loss or gain that can be made in the stock market. The market fluctuates daily, and with a big enough loss, some investors will not want to return to the market. If this is the case, then the stock market is actually losing money, and if there is a depression, then it will just keep going lower and lower, where the depression will continue. But if there is a minimum loss policy that would enact that says, hey, there's only this amount you can lose. You'll never go below this number. Then investors could say, okay, this is the worst case scenario. It'll be a kind of a safety net for them, and they will continue to invest. To accordance with Alexandra Twin, the government intervenes with a bailout plan if a financial crisis occurs, which means the government has to intervene and make sure that there's a plan that will rise the economy out of the depression. If there is a minimum and maximum amount that can be earned or lost, then the government will never have to do this because there will never, in theory, be a depression. Now, on the other side, there is a maximum gain. So for the penny stocks, for instance, there will not be any massive earnings in a single day. You'll only be able to earn so much. Another rule in the policy would be if a stockbroker messes up in one way where it loses all the investor's money, there will be a contract that the investor has to sign at the beginning before any money is put into the market so that the stockbroker will get a second chance. This contract will be binding for a term such as 6 months, a year, whatever the investor wants to intend on investing for with that stockbroker. This contract will say, if the investor loses all the money that the stockbroker loses in the market, then they at least have to put in a certain percent of the initial amount that they entrusted with the stockbroker. So for instance, if an investor put $10,000 to a stockbroker and said, invest this, and the stockbroker loses it all, the investor has to at least have a 5% guarantee that says the stockbroker will at least get a second chance with 5% of that money. This way, the stockbroker is protected and gets a second chance if they mess up in any way. With all these new policies in place, Congress should enact this rule and make this a law, because with these new rules, there will no longer be a recession or a depression in the United States economy and other countries for that matter, because the United States is the main focus on the world's population, the world's economy. In other countries, they look for the US as a guide, and with whatever our country is doing, more than likely the others will follow it. So if that would be in a bear market or a bull market, or if it is being successful or not, the United States is usually the one that is being revolved around. So for the fact that if a depression or recession is in place, other countries are affected severely by what is happening to the United States. This new policy will help the United States not only, but other countries all over the world be successful. Congress needs to enact this policy as soon as possible so that the stock market can flourish faster and quicker than it is already today. Thank you.